Hey guys, David here. So we got a new episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I'm here to review it. So yeah, spoilers. So the new episode was called Meet the New Boss, like the Who said. And basically, the episode pretty much encompassed meeting the brand new director of S.H.I.E.L.D. The one that was being mentioned very ominously in the first episode of this new fourth season, where they were talking about, oh, the director wants this, the director wants that. So they were making it out to be like this antagonizing, powerful figure. So when we finally met the guy played by Jason Mara, it was this goofy looking dude that you expect to see on a billboard in the Fallout 4 wasteland looking like, yes, you can do it. And all kidding aside, the dude was charming as hell. As soon as we meet him, he actually won me over, which is why I was just expecting the skeleton to come right out of the closet, and I was expecting it to be a very sinister one, because that's always been the case, especially when Hydra was involved. But I was happy to learn that the big payoff was that this guy was actually an Inhuman himself, so he's not necessarily going to be a flat out villain, because he understands both sides of the spectrum when it comes to this argument, especially after the Sokovia Accords got put into motion after the events of Civil War. In fact, him becoming the director and Coulson stepping to the side was kind of influenced by the Accords in the first place, and him being an Inhuman, even though he hasn't fully revealed it, just like he mentioned at the end of the episode where he tells the people that hopefully the next time that he meets that board, it's going to be under a much more public influence. He hopes that him being an Inhuman will go public as well, and hopefully people will accept that, but only after certain things are met. And I love the diplomatic ambitions of that sort of thing, because it makes things not look so black and white. Which is why the last thing that he says to Coulson about how he's going to handle the whole cases with May and Daisy, it sounds like he's going to become partly a villain but not fully a villain, because I can kind of understand where he's coming from, because it's true that Coulson cannot necessarily look objectively into decisions that matter, that have to do with Daisy or May, because he cares about both of them deeply, so he can make those kind of calls, and they need to bring in somebody who can, and that's where this guy comes in. And speaking of Agent May, this is another example as to how the people behind Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the writers and the producers, have taken that lesson that they learned in season 2 of stepping up the momentum and making sure that no episode goes unwasted and no episode becomes a filler within a 22 episode season run. And here in episode 2, right off the gate, Agent May's losing her shit, which kind of makes sense, because everybody that gets affected by these ghostly figures, whenever they get touched by them, they get affected almost immediately. They start losing their minds almost instantly. May did take her time because she's supposed to be iron-willed, but the fact that she's already losing it by the end of this episode, especially at the end there where we're seeing her in the straitjacket, which was tough to watch because we've never seen May that vulnerable. So seeing her freaking out like that, it's very eerie and very unsettling, but on top of that, it shows that everybody's up for grabs and nobody's safe. And speaking of those ghosts, so at least that's what we're led to believe, because something else might be at play here, but we actually learn much more about them, keeping up with that pace. We not only have more ghosts coming in from out of those boxes, but you actually see the ghosts interact with one another and trying to decide what happened, and based on the little details that we were given, they used to be regular humans, and then something went awry, something kind of Evil Dead-like, because apparently a book was involved, and now they need to get the book back, which leads me to believe that these ghosts, much like Ghost Rider, could in fact be connected to the mystical world that we're going to be introduced to in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Doctor Strange. I'm just not a huge fan of the actual makeup that these people were wearing when they were as ghosts, because it looked really cheap. I'm sorry, it just looked really, really bad. It looked like Halloween came early. So that brings me to Ghost Rider and Daisy coming back in this episode, where they get to bond a little bit over their conversations as to how both of them are kind of like cut from the same cloth, but not really, because Daisy's trying to run away from the bad that she's done, while Ghost Rider is pretty much embracing it at this point. He's like, yeah, I kill people in the most brutal way, but they deserve it. And Daisy's trying to almost find a form of balance in him, and that's why she tracks him down, on top of the actual goal that she's trying to accomplish, which is to find out how all this is connected. And I'm happy to see that she gets in the car with him, therefore forming some kind of team up with the two of these enhanced people. However, a couple of notes. One, Ghost Rider actually going to that location in Pasadena after Daisy mentions it kind of confirms that he is going to be in fact connected with all this mysticism type of stuff that could be derived from the world of Doctor Strange. And I will admit, it was a little heartbreaking to see Daisy actually get reunited with Mac and Fitz for however brief a time. It was only under the very bad circumstances, under the revelation that Yo-Yo was the one that was sneaking in medical supplies over to Daisy Daisy from S.H.I.E.L.D. HQ, and that hit Mac really hard. But I respect the writers for not making Daisy instantly go back to S.H.I.E.L.D. because that would be against character for her, and her still being somewhat of a lone wolf, even though she's gonna end up teaming up with Ghost Rider there at the end, was still a much more probable way to go. So I'm interested to see how Mac and Fitz are going to resonate with that, especially when they do come back to HQ and have to explain, oh yeah, we kind of met up with Daisy after this whole 6-month-long search, and how's he going to break that to Coulson? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has always managed to deliver episodes that were really busy, an awful lot of plot lines are happening, but thankfully in the last couple of seasons they've learned to balance it out pretty well, and also pace it very well, to where every time we cut to somebody doing something within the episode, something interesting and very important to the plot is happening. So I'm liking the pacing, I'm liking the payoff, I'm liking the direction that we're taking things in, I'm liking the stakes, I'm liking this brand new director, and I'm also liking that shotgun axe. I thought it was kind of silly at first, but seeing how it was used in this episode, I was like, okay, I see where you're going with this, Mac. So anyways, I give Meet the New Boss a high 8 out of 10. Definitely an improvement over last week's, even though last week's episode was already good to begin with. So I'm looking forward to see where S.H.I.E.L.D. goes next. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What do you look forward to when it comes to its connection to not only the events that transpired in Civil War and how that's going to have an implication with this whole bureaucratic angle about this brand new director and all that stuff, but also how far we're going to go into the horror element, especially with all those faces and that dude slamming his head. Like, that was something out of Dead Space. That was something out of Dead Space. That reminded me of an awful lot of Dead Space. The dude hitting his head up against the glass and just blood starts pouring all over the place. I'll let you guys post that in the comments below. Also be sure to like this video, subscribe for future videos coming up very soon. I also have a brand new Abridged Plays video on my gaming channel, Abridged Plays. I did one on Life is Strange. If you guys want to see me play that game in under 20 minutes, then feel free to jet on over to that video. I'll post a link or an annotation or a card somewhere here in this video. I thank you guys once more for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.